everyone, welcome to Crash Course, and I am your host, Shirley Wong, where I will be discussing the book Lord of the Flies to help you prepare for your next English course. Golding wrote the novel after the World War II, but the setting reflects during that time. He wrote the novel based on his experience of serving for the British Navy and was in charge of landing the craft for D-Day in Normandy. He also witnessed the horror of the war, allowing him to write his perception on civilization and on human nature. First off, the setting of the story takes place in World War II, where schoolboys were fleeing away from England because of the threat of a bomb. However, their plane crashed and they end up stranded on an island, somewhere in the Pacific. They were young schoolboys who were unfamiliar with the environment around them, and they had to start a new civilization as they began to adjust their life with no supervision and no authority, other than the threatening land. As they adjust to this new island, they struggled with adaptation, the development, the relationship, and the placement of creating a civilized system. Golding discussed a social commentary on what would happen if there was no civilization to guide them, and they would have to start a new system to self-organize and plan an efficient livelihood. The setting in the novel reflects upon the time during World War II, where the boys struggled to maintain a peaceful system and instead progress into savagery and evil. Now, how does the innocent schoolboys coming from England, a civilized country, become so violent, abusive, and savage? Why can't they maintain peace and organize a population? First off, Golding creates a setting that showed foil between the characters in the novel, similar to the figures during World War II. This is where the theme dictatorship versus democracy comes into play. The boys struggle to maintain a civilized relationship due to their different approach to organizing the tribe. Take Ralph, the protagonist, as an example, because he is an allegory for democracy, order, similar to Winston Churchill. He believed that everybody should obey the law, act morally, and maintain order. Golding presents him in an orderly manner by stating they obeyed the summons of the conch, partly because Ralph blew it, and he was big enough to be linked with the adult world of authority. Golding mentioned that Ralph was the closest to the adult authority, noting that he's the most mature, with the best knowledge of leadership. He was the one who started the conch, and brought the boys together when they were separated at the beginning. Ralph's idea of using the conch ensures that people have a voice, that they have an opinion to vote on the leader, to speak when they want to, and follow a well-established rule, which is the signifier and the basic necessity of survival. On the other hand, Jack is a foil to Ralph, similar to Hitler, because he believed in dictatorship. In the novel, Jack became so irritated with the constant need for the conch and states, "Conch, conch, we don't need the conch anymore. We know who ought to say things. What good did Simon do speaking, or Bill or Walter? It's time to people know that they've got to keep quiet and let the deciding go to the rest of us." Unlike Ralph, he disliked the conch because he believed that his choices should be enforced and that the other voices should not be heard. Jack portrays a similarity to Hitler because both are able to manipulate the population into joining their team and influence people by using people's fear against them to tell them that he would protect them. Jack uses the beast to manipulate the tribe into believing that he would protect it and that his position as chief will allow the tribe to live a better lifestyle where they can hunt, kill, and chant, while Ralph only worries about getting rescued. As a result, the foil between the two characters are their approach to government handling, where one's democratic and the other's dictatorship. Ralph believed in institution, moral orders, and his care for safety, protection, survival, and rescue to be found. Jack believed in dictatorship, the ability to control the tribe, and his savage and chaotic way of living, similar to Hitler as he tortures people, destroyed the island with forest fire and targets. Text to worlds. Similar to the way it did back in World War II, our world today still have weaknesses in maintaining peace and relationship with other countries and other political systems. For example, recently there has been a nuclear threat between the democratic US and the dictatorship North Korea. Since North Korea is controlled by one man, North Korea has caused a chaotic event when people found out that there might be a nuclear threat targeting the US. Another similarity that the country and the book have are propaganda, they're false news. North Korea uses false news, propaganda, to prevent the citizens from going against the government and influence people similarly to Jack's influence on people's fear, the beast. He says that he would protect them from the beast. Their approach is to gain power, to use their control for their own advantage. However, in Lord of the Flies, it eventually turns chaotic and violent. Well, what's another point that shows weakness in maintaining leadership? Well, Golding incorporated symbolism by using the conch to demonstrate the struggle in maintaining a civilization and how leaders progress into evil when they threaten or abuse the conch. This reflects upon World War II, because the conch is a symbolic figure for the peace treaty. To recap in history class, for those who don't know what the peace treaty is, after World War I, the Allied power and the Axis power established the most important treaty, known as the Treaty of Versailles. This was to establish the peace among the countries and to make Germany pay for reparation. However, once Hitler became the leader of Germany, he violated the treaty, and as a result, it became abandoned, sort of ignored during World War II. World War II is a reflection of the novel because the conch symbolizes institution and democratic power. It was the first symbol to bring all the boys together when they were separated in the beginning. When Ralph introduced the conch as a symbol of authority, he said, "And another thing, we'll have everybody talking at once. We'll have to hands up like at school. Then I'll give him the conch." That's what the shell's called. I'll give the conch to the next person to speak. He can hold it while he's speaking. The conch comes to represent civilization and equality because the people who have the conch have the right to express their own opinion and to ensure that people have a voice. However, Jack consistently disregards the conch as he opposes to democracy and wants autocracy, where he can decide for the rest of the tribe. Sadly, as the story progresses, the boys start joining Jack's tribe and the conch becomes disregarded. When the boys destroy the conch as well as Piggy, the last remnants of civilization shatters on the island, leaving the tribe with evil, savagery, and chaos, just like World War II, where the war started after Germany invaded other lands, causing chaos and destruction. Text-to-text connection to Othello. Similar to Othello, they both sort of lose their integrity. In Lord of the Flies, the boys go from civilized schoolchildren to savage hunter. Othello go from a trusted noble, honest military general to a trustless murderer. The connection is that evil resides within every character. The beast is in everyone, despite their innocence or status in society. For example, Othello, a once trusted man, can also have an evil side, especially if they're manipulated. And there goes my second point. Another similarity that both characters have is that they both go towards savagery through manipulation and control. For example, in Othello, the novel, Iago manipulates Othello into thinking Desdemona cheated on him. Iago caused Othello to distrust his loyal wife and instead abuse and murder her. In Lord of the Flies, instead of thinking of joining Ralph's tribe, which revolves around the fire, getting help, and democracy, the boys were manipulated by Jack to join his group, whom controlled the boys and manipulated them into abusing animals, each other, and the whole island when they set the forest on fire. Final thought. I really like the book because Golding showed deep insight to the concept of human mind by residing a darkness within every individual's mind. He took the time to think, what would people do if they start civilization with no authority, no supervision? He portrayed the boys with different physical and mental ability with characteristics of gaining supremacy. That's where we can see different foils and different personalities within the boys. He came to the conclusion that human beings are capable of cruelty and weakness, not only in their approach to maintaining a healthy civilization, but in their own well-being and abuse. This is what William Golding quoted. "Before the Second War, I believed in the perfectibility of a man. But after the war, I did not because I was unable to. I have discovered what one man could do to another." This is similar to the novel where we have schoolboys revealing their inner darkness when maintaining a civilization, causing civilization to be chaotic, destructive, and many downfalls. It showed an insight of what civilization is now, how different political systems can contradict to one another, causing impacts to the relationship. Different countries have different leadership, but they influence each other in a way that it may create violence, destruction, and downfall, or it may not. Different political systems can create peace, serenity, and clarity. Well, folks, that's all I got. Thanks for watching and subscribe to Crash Course, because who doesn't want to get an A on their English course? Today we talked about Lord of the Flies, and I'll see you next time.